Hey YouTube fam, this is Tycanders doing not a review as such, but more of an update, or a figure update on something I reviewed earlier. And this is a sort of update on those 1988 TMNT Turtles remastered figures. So it was something I wanted to do when I got it, and I've been waiting for this to come in. Now, it's not perfect, it's not mint condition, but what this is one of the, I believe it's an original because it's Mutant Hero Turtles, which is what they were called over here in Europe, because they, was it the classification board or whatever way they classified TV and movies over here, they thought ninja was too violent a word for cartoons. So this is the Turtles party wagon. So if I flip it around, you can see it's in reasonably good condition, but it's not complete. It is missing the usual thing that's always missing on these, which is the door and that little armored piece that flips down with the radar dish. But it does have the opening canopy. So my main reason for getting this, it's mostly the shell, pun intended, is so I could see how these new Playmates style figures fit into the vehicle. So I did discover, I think, the main reasoning behind their weird ankle articulation. And I'm not sure if it was intentional or if it's just the way they designed it. So if I get a couple of the figures seated. So I have my original Donnie sitting in the driver's seat. Now these guys had wide leg stances, which is why when you're putting them into the turtle van, normally they'd be like that, but you had to kind of flatten them out to the side, and then they would fit in. They wouldn't fit in normally like this, because their toe would be, there's a very small gap between the front of the van and the seat. So I'm going to take off the roof. It is fairly loose anyway, it's not completely attached. The hinge on it is fairly old. I don't think there was any bars that went in. It was just plastic that held it on. So I'm just going to move that aside for the moment, and I'll show you what I mean. So I have Donnie in the stance I think they were intending for you to use with these. So you can get him in a seated position with his legs kind of forward. But what the reasoning behind these weird swivel cuts, now I think it would have been made more sense if they had done an actual hinge for the ankle instead of swivel. So like a swivel with a hinge would have made way more sense. So I'm just going to move his, I have his bow staff sitting behind him on the seat because I wanted it to be, I didn't want to lose it. And I think there might be one other accessory knocking around in the bottom. Is there? No. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this. Hopefully I can do this on camera. Now, as I said, it's been well played with. This is secondhand. I picked it up off eBay. I'm going to see if I can get the light into it so you can see what I'm talking about. So just here in front of the seating, the front driver's seat and passenger seat, there's very little room to maneuver with the legs. And if you were to put them straight in with their legs fitting like this, they won't fit all that well because their toes are smacking up against that piece. So I think the idea they were going with was that you widen the 2 feet to either side, and then you just slide the turtle in, and then you have your turtle sitting in the turtle van. So you can do that with most turtles. Leo, obviously, you have to kind of push his swords up a little bit so they're not over his butt, but you can have, you can either put the feet that way. I know it looks like they've broken their ankles, or like this. And if I put Leo in, you can have at least 2 of the turtles seated on the seat in the main turtle van. So I'm going to move Mikey aside. He's holding stuff up, so you can see them seated in the turtle van. Now obviously they're not if they didn't have the holsters for their swords or their gear, they'd sit a little bit further back, but because it is what it is, I'm not going to take them off. But I think that is the whole idea behind them doing that weird design. You can get them seated on the inside as well, so you can get Mikey seated. Actually, probably easier to get him seated across the back here, so you can get him seated like this. You don't need to bend the toes for this, but if you had that extra piece where they sit on the front of the vehicle, you just get Raph into a seated position. So you can get him in a more seated position. I know he's holding a, I think it's one of Mikey's, the storage shell Mikey, or sorry, storage shell Donnie's weapons. So you can get him seated in like that. You can get them to kind of sit reasonably well on the actual seats in the turtle van, where I think the original figures wouldn't have had that kind of capability. So if I turn around, I have a bunch of spare weapons, including Donnie's bow staff, which you can't really fit. You could probably fit it, but it'd be sticking out the edge here. I just kind of rested in behind him on the seat, so it's not in the way, and just get Leo seated up a bit better. It doesn't make much of a difference, so I'm just going to rotate around. Get Mikey sitting back down again. Now, this is at a little bit of an angle, so they probably might slip forward. I have some spare weapons, and just put on the seat. And we'll get that roof part back again. So, is it on right? That is not on right. Mikey seated up there. That is off. There we go. Get Mikey kind of seated in there, so you can get him somewhat seated on the seat in the back. His toes aren't exactly touching the floorboards, but you can get him to be more seated. Now, I am hoping that they might continue this line and we get an April Master Splinter, even Foot Soldiers. I would really love to see this line continue. So far, there's been no update on whether they're doing a wave 2 of these figures, or technically, I think these might be wave 2, because they did a series of comic book figures, which is this. I just bring the Raphael from NECA, which is this design, this kind of, you know, based on the comic book art. They did a set of these guys first in the similar vein to these remastered figures. So I'm not sure if those are considered wave 1 and these are wave 2. But a continuation of this design, where it's the original figure design, would be kind of nice, and get characters like General Trag here with the updated articulation with the ankles and the, well, he does have elbows, but you know, with the wrist articulation and ball jointed head, and the hinge on the shoulders would be a kind of really nice nod. But like overall, I do believe that this is the reasoning behind them doing that weird ankle cut on those turtles, that they'll fit in some of the more vintage vehicles if you have them, and some of the classics reissue vehicles. I would love to get my hands on the turtle blimp, see if it's something they fit nicely on. A buddy of mine is going to be sending me one of the early turtle motorbikes, which I'm going to try out. I think it's the one with the trash can sidecar. So if that arrives, I will do another update video just to see if these turtles fit that just as well as they fit the van. Obviously, I need to get some pieces for this to complete it. So this door and the fold down thing where the little bombs hold in, and obviously all the bits for the front, the armor piece, and then the, you know, antenna with the guns and whatnot. So I have to get those to complete this thing. But I did pick this up at on eBay for a reasonable price. With shipping, it did kind of push it up a bit, but it was cheaper than what most people were looking for just the main shell of the turtle party wagon from the original line. As I said, I do believe it is an original. I can't see a date stamp on it. I'm not sure if I'm looking in the right location, but like, it has the old original Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles symbol on it, as opposed to Mutant Turtles, which is what they're more known as. So there you go, guys. Just a quick video update for this figure line, just so you can see the turtle boys rocking in their turtle wagon, or party wagon, which is a really cool vehicle. I never had it as a kid, so it is something that's pretty decent. Like this and the Ecto One were kind of stuff would have loved to have as a kid, but I never had either of them. But I have managed to pick them up since. I might even go as far as doing, maybe if I can pick up another shell for one of these, I might do some customization on it, just make it a little bit more maybe cartoon accurate. I've seen some people redo the shell, the roof part here with the kind of more traditional opening thing and the two laser guns, but you know, that makes it more cartoon accurate as opposed to what the toy was. Overall, it's not a bad looking vehicle, and if you can pick up the Classics one for a reasonable price, I would recommend going for that if you want to display these guys with something behind them or them in it. If you have those remastered figures, it looks pretty cool. Even though you do get that rooftop display for them, you kind of, I think the iconic Turtle Party Wagon is kind of a more iconic looking thing for them to be seated in or standing around. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video review. Well, it's not even a video review, video update of this figure line. And as I say in my videos, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And hopefully I see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.